Turkey has once again surprised the military world with a claim of launching the latest generation of tactical ballistic missiles, the Block-4 Hypersonic SRBM/MRBM. The system is touted to have extreme maneuverability at hypersonic speeds, which makes it much more difficult to detect and intercept by modern air defense systems. With speeds exceeding Mach 5 and unpredictable trajectories, the missile is designed to penetrate advanced defense layers such as THAAD, S-400, and Arrow 3. All three systems have long been known as the world's most advanced air shields, but a new generation of hypersonic technology is changing the rules of the game. The main advantage of Block-4 lies in the ability of a maneuverable reentry vehicle or a warhead that can maneuver when entering the atmosphere. This makes it difficult for radar to accurately predict the path of attack, thereby narrowing the reaction time of the defense system. In addition, the missile is also rumored to use stealth technology and an artificial intelligence-based guidance system, allowing real-time target changes in mid-flight. If this claim is proven, then the Block-4 is not just a missile, but a high-speed precision strike platform that is very difficult to stop. However, global military analysts assess claims that these missiles easily defeat systems such as THAAD, S-400, and Arrow 3 still need to be tested in real conditions. The defense system is designed with layered layers of detection and interception, including advanced radar, high-speed interceptors, and complex defense network integration. If effective, the presence of Turkey's Block-4 hypersonic missile could spark a new arms race, particularly in the development of anti-hypersonic defense technology that is currently in its infancy in many countries. This situation marks a major shift in global military strategy, where speed, system intelligence, and maneuverability are now decisive factors in the dominance of the modern battlefield. This development does not stand alone. In recent years, the world is indeed entering a new era of high-speed weaponry and intelligence-based systems. Major powers are racing to develop hypersonic missiles in response to increasingly sophisticated air defense systems. Turkey, formerly known as a regional power with a focus on drones and domestic defense systems, is now beginning to show ambitions to move up in the country's club of developers of cutting-edge missile technology. The Block-4 program is believed to be part of Turkey's long-term strategy to achieve defense industry independence. By reducing dependence on imports, Turkey seeks to build a military ecosystem capable of competing globally. In this context, the development of hypersonic missiles is a symbol of technological power as well as a strategic deterrent tool. If we look deeper, the main challenge in the face of a hypersonic missile is not only in speed, but also in its flight profile. In contrast to conventional ballistic missiles that have relatively predictable parabolic trajectories, hypersonic missiles tend to fly lower and are able to maneuver dynamically. This makes it difficult for radar systems to build accurate interception solutions in a short time. Systems such as THAAD are designed to intercept missiles in the terminal phase at high altitude, while the S-400 has a multi-layer capability to deal with a variety of aerial threats. On the other hand, Arrow 3 is even designed for interception outside the atmosphere. However, all of these systems are essentially optimized to deal with threats with a more classic trajectory pattern. Therein lies the great change brought about by hypersonic technology. With its glide capability and lateral maneuverability, missiles such as the Block-4 can evade defense system predictions and force the operator to make a decision within seconds. Even a slight error in calculations can make the interceptor miss the target. In addition to technical aspects, there is also a geopolitical dimension that is no less important. The presence of a system like Block-4 has the potential to change the balance of power in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and beyond. Countries that previously felt protected by advanced air defense systems will now have to reconsider their strategies. For NATO, this Turkish move could be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the improvement of Turkey's military capabilities can strengthen the alliance. But on the other hand, the independent development of sensitive technologies can also raise concerns regarding the interoperability and control of technologies. Moreover, Turkey's relations with several Western countries have been strained in recent years, especially after the acquisition of the S-400 system from Russia. Meanwhile, countries such as Russia, China, and the United States have already developed and tested hypersonic systems. In this context, Turkey's move can be seen as an attempt to catch up while showing that this technology is no longer exclusive to the superpower. However, it is important to note that performance claims in the military are often optimistic and do not necessarily reflect actual operational conditions. Field testing, system integration, and the ability to deal with modern countermeasures will be decisive factors in whether Block-4 is really able to meet these expectations. In addition, the air defense system is also constantly evolving. Efforts to create anti-hypersonic technology are now a priority in many countries. These include the development of higher frequency radars, satellite-based detection systems, and new generation interceptors capable of pursuing targets at extreme speeds. There are also non-kinetic approaches, such as the use of electronic warfare to disrupt missile navigation systems, or even energy-based weapons such as lasers that can provide an instant response to high-speed threats. All this suggests that the race between attack and defense systems will continue. On the other hand, the question arises of global stability. The faster and harder a weapon is to detect, the less time the target country has to respond. This potentially increases the risk of miscalculation or unintentional escalation of the conflict. In the worst-case scenario, misinterpreted early warning systems can trigger a dangerous chain reaction. For this reason, many analysts call for the importance of international regulation regarding the use and development of hypersonic weapons. However, as with any military technology, reaching a global agreement is not easy. Each country has its own strategic interests, and technological superiority is often perceived as an asset that does not want to be limited. Returning to Turkey, the success or failure of the Block 4 program will largely depend on various factors, ranging from the capabilities of the domestic industry, budget support, to political stability. If successful, Turkey will not only improve its bargaining position on the international stage, but also open up opportunities for defense technology exports to other countries. Ultimately, the emergence of the Block 4 hypersonic missile reflects one thing for sure: the battlefield of the future will be increasingly complex, fast, and full of uncertainty. Superiority is no longer determined only by the number of weapons, but by the ability to integrate technology, information, and strategy in an adaptive whole. And in the midst of these changes, the world is now witnessing a new chapter in the evolution of military power, where the seconds, speed, and intelligence of the system determine whether to survive or lose. In the midst of these dynamics, one thing that is increasingly clear is that modern warfare is no longer just a matter of physical strength, but also of information superiority and speed of decision-making. Hypersonic missiles like Block 4 force any defense system to react almost instantly, relying on an integrated network of sensors, satellites, and artificial intelligence. In real conflict scenarios, successful interception is determined not just by the capabilities of a single system like THAAD or Arrow 3, but by how the entire defense network works in sync. The concept of network-centric warfare has become crucial, with each radar, satellite, and interceptor unit sharing data in real time to create a complete picture of the situation. However, on the other hand, this complexity also opens up new loopholes. Cyber attacks, communication disruptions, or even data overloads can undermine the effectiveness of defense systems that rely heavily on connectivity. In this context, hypersonic missiles are not only a physical threat, but also a tool for testing the resistance of the opponent's digital systems. Turkey seems to understand this by developing an approach that not only focuses on weapons platforms, but also the supporting ecosystem. If Block 4 is integrated with an advanced reconnaissance and targeting system, then its effectiveness can be significantly increased. Looking ahead, the world is likely to see a combination of hypersonic missiles, autonomous drones, and electronic warfare in one complementary strategy package. And if this trend continues, then the line between conventional and unconventional attacks will blur even more. Ultimately, the question is no longer whether systems like the S-400 are capable of dealing with new threats, but how quickly they can adapt. Because in the hypersonic era, the slightest delay could mean the difference between successfully intercepting or total failure.